Went from condos to Pop's house. On calls now bus routes.
Everything that I'm hearing about your journey, man, is beautiful just hearing about it, because one thing that we got to understand, because you keep saying God, which I love, right, brother? And everybody who know me know that I'm a very spiritual brother as well.
Yeah,
I'm very into my faith and everything like that. But it's something that I want everybody to understand, and that's something that you showing, and I try to make sure that I make people aware of. We got to understand, just like it say in James 2:17, faith without works is dead.
Dead.
You were out there grinding. People were calling you crazy, and look, when people call you crazy, I just say, yeah, maybe, but just wait and see. At the end of the day, when it come down to people calling you crazy, they're not used to seeing what they're seeing you do. I never forget, man, when just to make the long story short, because this is about you, I'll never forget when I was first starting my business, because I didn't have no intentions at that time of starting a business. I lost everything, and I just told God to take me in the direction that you want to take me in, and he led me into that direction. And everybody was saying, boy, you better go get you a job or something. You are sleeping in your car trying to put together a business. What are you doing? You've been up in your car for like a month now. You better go out there and figure it out. But I said, no, this is where God got me right now. God is building me for something that he got prepared for me, and I'm not going nowhere. And and God eventually did what he did, right? So I'm just saying, people could call you crazy all day and all night, but they are not on a journey that God have you on.
Right.
You get what I'm saying, brother? So it's beautiful to see where you're at today and where you continuing to go, when at one point in time, when you just had your sign up saying, I see greatness, at that time you were there, but where you at now, it's a beautiful thing to see, brother. One thing that I want to ask you too. So eventually, like you said, you ended up in LA. What led you to LA?
That's a great question. It was a dismal relationship, and a desperate prayer for clarity. Okay. So I was in a relationship with a great young lady. At the time, we had only had 2 arguments in our whole relationship, and I can't even tell you if it wasn't even as serious, but we were together for 4 years, and at the time with her, I was living in sin. Yeah. And so I was still down with my life at that time. So I said, God. I said, take all the evil things out of my life right now. And that night we had, it was a great night. That night before, I wake up in the morning. I was working at Delta Airlines, and she was working at the airport as well. And we didn't have the best. That was both our off days. So that was both our off days. And I get up and, I go out on the street with the sign. It was my thing. I couldn't wait for my off day in the mornings, because I loved having an impact on the masses in the mornings before they went to work. And I come home in my apartment, and after that I called her. I said, because we had a tradition, since it was both our off days, it was a Thursday. And so she had, I said, let's go out to breakfast. I was going to take her out to breakfast. Get to the apartment. She's gone. We had just gotten her a vehicle. It was her first time driving. She was, don't get it twisted. She was 36, 37, something like that. So she had just started to drive, and just taught her how to drive. And I found it was awkward that most of her stuff, her precious belongings, were kind of gone. So I called her. I said, where's your bag? Where's your Louis bag? Where's your this and that? Where's your shoes? Why does this stuff look bare? Oh, I just took some stuff to my mom's house so they can put it in the cleaners. Okay. Knowing that she didn't really know how to drive like that. So I said, okay, all right, bet. So she goes out and about. Next thing you know, I had a second job. I was a basketball coach at a school up the street. I go to the school got canceled that day. I come home and I just get into bed, take a nap. In the middle of the nap, when those middle of the day naps where you kind of wake up, you got to wake up from the nap, Yeah. So in the middle of the nap, I woke up because she's thinking I'm at school. That's her mom, her dad, her family is in the apartment. You know, look, they're surprised I'm there. I'm surprised they're there. I ain't got no clothes on. What are y'all doing? You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, and so they rush out the apartment. And I called her. I said, you know, what's going on here? She said, I just think it's time that we break up. I said, okay. You could have went about this a whole nother way. You know what I mean? I was literally upset for about 36 minutes because I recalled the prayer I prayed the night before. I said, God, take all the evil things out of my life right now. And when you pray that prayer and when you get that answer, you never know what's going to be taken out of your life. So I was, calmly helped her move her table, her chandelier, and her other parcels, out the apartment. It was me and my dog. And we, at that moment, I changed my lifestyle. I changed what I was eating. I stopped eating all kind of BS. You know what I mean? I went on a fast. I started dieting. I started eating but fruits and vegetables. You know what I mean? And it gave me energy. I started listening to inspirational, positive music, hanging around some bit different people. And it was work. So I was working at Delta Airlines. She was still working at the airport. Her office or her store she worked at, she was a clerk. The store she worked at was right next to my door where I had to walk into work every day. I did not want to see this woman every day. I got to walk into work. So I said, God, you took all the evil things out of my life. Thank you. Now where you want me to go? So I get to the board at work and I'm looking, I'm doing these. Los Angeles. Okay. So I go, I'm pondering at work that day. I'm like, dang, Los Angeles, I've never been to LA. And so I get a phone call from my homie, Rasheed Wallace. That same day, he says, T, I got some tickets to the All-Star game in LA. You want to pull up? Because he said the girl wasn't going to go at the time. I said, all right, bet. Yeah, for sure. So and the great thing about Delta Airlines is if you're an employee, you can jump on an airplane and go anywhere you want all over the world for free. I mean, so I said, all right, bet. So I jumped out there. I'm like, I ain't got to carry no cash or nothing like that. This and that. Bet. I get out there, come out to LA, link up with my homie Sheed. His girl decided to do a sneak trip and come in town, check him out. You know what I mean? And, would put my ticket and my crash on the floor, you know what I mean, to the side, you know what I mean? So I'm like, all right, I just dug it out. You know what I mean? So, I came out here, man. I came out here to LA. This is my first time in LA. I walked around the streets. When you see, you guys got it great. You guys from LA, you already know what LA is. We have a perception, and we depending on where you go in Los Angeles is better than some areas, right? I mean, but anywhere you go in Los Angeles, you can still see the Hollywood sign. Yeah. You know what I mean? So when you come from Detroit, you think you in LA, you could be on Western Imperial thinking like, dang. You know what I mean? But then you go down to Hollywood and be like, dang. Or you go to Watts, 106 and Watts, and you see it's like, dang. You know what I mean? Or you go on Skid Row and be like, wow. Or you go downtown on 7th and Fig and be like, what? You know what I mean? It's like, it's so much that you see out here in LA. So I jumped on a bus and I just took the bus. I took the Silver Line bus. I mean, all around. And then I would take the Green Line bus and the train. Just look. I'm just looking, seeing. You know what I mean? Then I wanted to see Inglewood. You know what I mean? We went to Inglewood, and everywhere I'm going, I'm just pointing at the cars at the sign. You know what I mean? Just playing. So I'm like, man. I saw somebody get robbed. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, man, this is kind of wild. So when I came out to LA, I tested it, with my homie Sheed. You know what I mean? Then it was a good feeling when you first come out to LA. You walk around, your Sheed Wallace introducing you to everybody as some influential folks. But then again, I'm still boots on the ground, so I'm in the neighborhoods. So I'm like, all right, bet. So I get out here, and then I go back to Detroit. I make my decision because I didn't want to see the girl at work no more, and God had told me to move my territory. So I come out here to LA. Next thing you know, I'm thinking I had a living situation with a homie. Didn't work out that way. Next thing he had his girlfriend decided to move in, which took up my spot on the couch. I was working at Delta Airlines. They recognized the problem. I ended up getting a raise, getting all type of stipends, and end up, but no, after me staying on the streets for 45 days, you know what I mean? So I would just travel around Skid Row, find different organizations to help serve, different, jump on different buses and trains. Any opportunity I had to get off work, I would jump on an airplane somewhere, go, whoever had first class, I would go eat, and come back. And this, I was really, grinding with it. Then I got on my feet, which was great.